Get all that up there. Good evening. Calling to order the Columbia County Board of Commissioners, April 1st, 2025 meeting to order. No kidding. I'm gonna, almost an April Fool's joke. Ask Commissioner Couch to open us with the invocation.
Please bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we're so thankful for this day and for all the many blessings that you bestow upon Columbia County. We ask for a special hedge of protection around our sheriff's officers, our firefighters, and our EMS workers. We ask that you be with us now as we work through these agenda items and help us to do all things in your will. In your most holy and precious name I pray. Amen.
Please stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
With liberty and
justice for all.
Let the record show we have a full quorum of commissioners. Commissioners, you have the minutes from the March 18th, 2025 commission packet, as well as the March 18th, 2025 budget work session. If you had a chance to review them, I'll accept a motion to do so.
Chairman, I make a motion to accept the minutes of both meetings.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor, raise your right hand. Carries. I believe there are no changes to the agenda.
Ready for your approval, Mr. Chairman.
Approved. Have a couple of special recognitions today, and Vice Chairman Couch is going to present those. And so the first is the proclamation of Native Plant Month.
Good evening. So tonight we will be presenting a proclamation for Native Plant Month to the Georgia Native Plant Society. And do we have any other members here today? Would you like to come up? And you sent over a slide for us to display, which we appreciate. So we'll read the proclamation, and then if either of you would like to say a few words, you're certainly welcome to do so. Whereas a native plant is defined as one that has evolved over thousands of years in a specific geographic region alongside local flora and fauna without human intervention. And whereas native plants include large canopy trees, understory trees, shrubs, perennials, vines, and grasses that are indigenous to unique geographic regions with special soil, moisture requirements, and growing conditions. Whereas native plants are essential for a healthy, diverse, and sustainable ecosystem and are critical for cleaning air, filtering water, and stabilizing soils. And whereas native plants provide food, including nectar, pollen, seeds, and foliage for native birds, caterpillars, butterflies, bees, and other wildlife in ways that non-native plants cannot. And whereas Georgia is home to more than 3,844 native plant species, and some of Georgia's rarest plants are federally listed under the Endangered Species Act of 1973. Now, therefore, we, the Board of Commissioners of Columbia County, do hereby proclaim April to be Native Plant Month and encourage public awareness about the benefits of Georgia's native plants to pollinators and other wildlife, to the economy, and to the health and sustainability of our fragile ecosystems. Signed this first day of April, 2025. Welcome. Absolutely.
Testing one. So thank you. It is also National Native Plant Month as of April, so we're just happy as a county in solidarity we can celebrate. The Augusta River Region chapter has hosted 3 plant rescues, 14 site visits to personal residences to help them retrofit their yard to native plants and recover from Hurricane Helene, and 14 days at Reed Creek removing invasive species to make it better and more sustainable for the existing wildlife. It's part of having stunning and sustainable backyards, and we're just thrilled. We also noticed on the agenda there might be an opportunity if the developer wants to get in touch with us for the 63 acres off of Callaway Road, that by rescuing plants we can put them somewhere and allow them to continue flourishing and nurturing our county.
Very much.
We also have a second proclamation in observance of Safe Digging Month. Chairman Couch.
We have Hope Marshall here with us tonight from the Utility Coordinating. Okay. Oh, hey, Jason, how are you? Good to see you. Whereas thousands of times each year, the underground infrastructure in Georgia is damaged by those who do not have underground lines located prior to digging, resulting in service interruption, environmental damage, and threat to public safety. And whereas in 2005, the Federal Communications Commission designated 811 to provide contractors and homeowners a simple number to contact utility operators to request the location of underground lines at the intended dig site. And whereas the Augusta-Richmond Columbia County Utility Coordinating Committee, a stakeholder-driven organization dedicated to the prevention of damage to underground utilities in Georgia, promotes the National 811 notification system and Georgia 811 in an effort to reduce these damages. And whereas damage prevention is a shared responsibility, by using safe digging practices, the contractors and homeowners of Columbia County can save time, money, and help keep our infrastructure safe and connected. Now, therefore, the Columbia County Board of Commissioners do hereby proclaim April 2025 as Safe Digging Month and encourage contractors and homeowners throughout Columbia County to always contact 811 before digging. Signed this first day of April.
It's important.
Solid advice.
It protects everybody, and it protects the lives and making sure that your utility.
Commissioners, you have the consent agenda in front of you. Each item on this agenda is necessary committee and receive the necessary votes to be placed on this agenda. If I still meet with your approval, I'll accept the motion to do so.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to accept all the items on the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Questions? All in favor, raise your right hand. Carries. On to the debate. Commissioner Allen, I believe you are up.
Sir. Regarding item I-1A1, I would like to make a motion to approve the request for a major S1 revision for property located at tax map 077A, parcel 016C, for the use as a preschool with a new playground in addition to the approved church-related use.
Second.
This major revision is to allow the preschool use. Currently, this is a church. The church is to remain. However, they are going to be leasing some space to this preschool. Since it is not the church that will be running the preschool, triggers this major revision. So the preschool will go in the existing building. They are looking to add a playground out to the front of the building, roughly in this area. That's a little off, but somewhere in that area. Black chain link fence, vinyl coated chain link fence around the playground. They're also going to do some additional landscaping to soften that look of that playground. But overall, again, if it was just the church doing it, no need to come here, but because they're renting the space, it requires your approval.
Questions? Motion and second on the floor. On favor, raise your right hand. Carries. Still to you, sir.
Sure. Item I-1A2, I would like to make a motion to approve the request for a major PUD revision for a property located at tax map 060, parcel 1755, for 3 single-family residential lots subject to the conditions enumerated in the March 20th, 2025 Planning Commission report.
Second.
This revision will change the use of this parcel. Currently, it's a 3-acre parcel that is zoned for a funeral home. Remember, the cemetery was going to be to the left of your picture here, which is now Highland Lakes. They're looking to subdivide this into 3 1-acre lots, residential. Staff has recommended that it be an R1 type zoning, so they'll have to follow the R1 setbacks, the R1 uses, even though it would be part of a PUD. It's not part of Highland Lakes. These will be 3 individual houses on their own. There is a condition, they must share access. We do not want 3 driveways in that section of Williams, right between 2 major intersections for residential neighborhoods. Happy to answer any questions you have.
Questions? The motion is second on the floor. All in favor, raise your right hand. Carries.
Item I-1A3. I would like to make a motion to approve the request for rezoning from R1 to R2 for property located at tax map 060, parcel 013B, for development of a proposed single-family residential subdivision subject to the conditions enumerated in the March 20th, 2025 Planning Commission report.
Second.
This request is for a R2 zoning for a neighborhood, looking for, the R2 zoning would give about 10,000 square foot lots. This will accommodate about 70 units when said and done. There are numerous conditions placed on this concerning Callaway Road extension. Basically, that road is going to be redesigned, rebuilt so that it can accommodate traffic, fire truck traffic. The cul-de-sac at the end of the road is going to have to be redesigned to ensure that fire trucks can turn. The water system is going to have to be upgraded to make sure we have fire protection if this is approved. Turn lanes on Herbert Farm Road onto Callaway Road extension if the project development process is followed. If it triggers it, that cars would trigger those turn lanes, they will have to install those. We've requested that they also put a left and a right turn lane on Callaway Road extension. They have to do traffic calming measures. There's a ton of conditions that are laid out in front of you there. If you have any questions about them, I'd be happy to answer.
Is the developer paying for the road improvements and turn lanes?
They will have to pay for all of it,
It's not on the county at all.
correct?
Have any neighbors?
There were a lot of neighbors that attended the planning commission. I don't believe any of them spoke, either for or against. They were in attendance, but nothing was put on record.
Mention the water system.
Right, so they have to put hydrants in to make sure that they meet fire requirements for hydrant spacing. I believe it's 500 feet. I think it was 1,000 feet.
The developer bears the
Correct.
financial burden for that. Would those improvements be a benefit to the existing neighbor?
Absolutely, yeah. Or putting hydrants out there gives better fire protection as well to the existing residents. The road, obviously, it's widened to 24 foot and beefed up stronger. It'll be a better road for the existing residents as well.
And
I know you said that no neighbors spoke, but did they send any emails or?
Where, Will, do you have no record? I will point out, this early concept plan that was shown showed Callaway Road being brought into the neighborhood and then the neighborhood having to tee into it. We've made it very clear that that is not acceptable. They will have to maintain Callaway Road as is so that they do not interrupt the existing traffic. So this area right here will have to be reworked in some way to keep Callaway Road straight.
density difference? This was R1, now going to R2. Is it doubling the number of homes that could be?
I could tell you if it's doubling. What they're showing is about 1.88 units per acre. If you did R1, that's going to be probably 1 or less, so it's not exactly double. What you think, Will? 1 or less on R1?
I mean, if you have sewer there, you could get a 30,000 square foot lot. Probably, their concept plan shows 70. That's probably meaning lots.
You said 1.8?
1.88 units per acre is what, now this concept is not binding. There's a concept that will be brought to the planning commission. I believe it's Thursday night. Planning commission will actually see the concept. So that's why I'm giving you about numbers, because this isn't, the concept is not being voted on, just the zoning. There's a variance that's going to be requested Thursday night as well to extend how long a cul-de-sac can be without turnaround. So that variance will be coming before you eventually. So right now, it's not firm what the actual density will be. This concept shows a density about 1.88 units per acre. Growth management plan says we can go up to 3 in this area, or less than what growth management plan.
Any other questions? Motion is second on the floor. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? Carries 4-1. Oh, no, excuse me, Commissioner Allen.
I have one more, sir. Golly, we're hot today. I make a motion to approve the request for a variance to setback 9098 for property located at tax map 077A, parcel 011E, to reduce building setbacks to 20 feet adjacent to tax map 077A, parcels 099A and 100, and to 3 feet against the CSX right-of-way, and remove the maximum front building setback.
Second.
Sounds more complicated than it is. So CSX owns this property here. I've lost my ability to draw. So that CSX right-of-way is through there. They're asking to reduce the setback to 3 foot along that property line. Building up against a railroad, not a major concern for us. They're asking to reduce to a 20-foot building setback along that property line. That is I believe it's C2 parcel there against the M2 parcel. Code calls for a 40-foot setback, but it is similar uses. Dropping it from a 40-foot building setback to a 20-foot setback makes sense. There's an existing house here, existing office, I should say. That currently meets the front building setbacks. However, they plan on taking that building down and putting something new in that area. Not a binding conceptual plan, so they're asking for a little leniency on where they can put that building. So they're asking not to have to meet that 125-foot front setback. So the building may stop, somewhere up here. If they were to tear this down and build the first building in the back, they would also not be meeting the setback. So asking for the front setback variance to go away is understandable. With this use, it's like contractor's warehouse, contractor storage. Kind of having that away from the road actually makes sense as well. It's not shoved up on the road real tight in your face. So this kind of gives a little break from the through traffic to seeing those warehouses as well.
Is there any comment from the adjacent property owners?
We're one of them, so we own this property. He owns that. That's our maintenance facility and design construction facility. This is I believe it's a grooming, Paws in Paradise, I believe is the name of it. I'm not aware of any concern.
No concerns were raised by the next one.
Questions? Motion is second on the floor. All in favor, raise your right hand. Vice Chairman.
Thank you. I make a motion to postpone the change order number 1 with MB Con for the UV advanced oxidation treatment to the April 15th, 2025 meeting.
Second.
This will allow staff to continue working with that contractor, have some meetings before we bring that to you. Final vote.
Questions? Favor, raise your right hand. Carries.
I make a motion to approve the letter of support to the Georgia Department of Transportation for the widening project for State Route 47, Highway 221, from Appling to Harlem, Georgia, along with providing $2 million in county funds for the project once approved by the Department of Transportation.
Second.
So staff has been working with DOT, their district office, as well as our MPO. We actually submitted this project through our MPO, the Metropolitan Planning Organization, for funding through the feds, through the state, to start this project. Unfortunately, they decided, DOT, MPO decided that we can't apply for this project through them because the entire project does not lie within the boundaries. So there's some kind of infighting between DOT. Part of DOT says we can, part of DOT says we can't. Well, instead of fighting, DOT came to us and said, if you'll take the same match you were going to give MPO and give it to us, we'll handle the project, we'll start this project. So the $2 million match would go towards them to help them with the scoping phase and then into the preliminary engineering phase. Nothing has been started at this point with this project, so we don't know termini. We know the starting point, the northern starting point will be where the 4-lane stops coming out of Appling. It drops to 2-lane. They'll start there. They'll have to study the corridor to figure out where the termini is to the south, whether it be before the Harlem city limits, whether it goes through Harlem city limits to a certain point. All that'll be studied, so nothing's set in stone now. This is just a project that both Columbia County wants, DOT wants, and this is a way of us kind of helping seed that project along, getting some support out of Atlanta to push this project through. DOT seems to think with this letter of support, they'll have funding approved July 1 to start this project.
Once you get the funding, then it goes into design, then you've got right-of-way acquisition, and then.
10 years.
Okay, that was my question, because by the time you do utilities and all that.
DOT project, if they work it fast, 7 to 8 years to start turning dirt. So I say 10, just involves a federal highway as well. Got to cross the interstate. So there's some things to work out. You got to go in front of a couple schools. So there's a lot of details that have to be thought about project. So I say 10 years before you actually see the project.
Will they work with each entity as far as getting feedback from the Board of Education, from the county? It also goes into city limits through the downtown,
Right.
potentially?
They will. They'll have public hearings, so they'll invite the public out to hear the plan. So absolutely, they'll talk with the cities for their input, the city, not cities, the city, the Board of Education, absolutely, they'll bring them all in. We'll be heavily involved, well, with our industrial park. It'll be right in front of our industrial park.
Okay. And they'll, I guess, use population projections.
They do. They
How many
have to
are that?
forecast out 20 years, so anything DOT does has to be done based on true data. So they can't just go widen a road because they think they want to widen a road. They have to do the study, they have to come back with the data, provided that the data supports the widening, they then move forward with the design and acquisition of property and construction. Audit studies have to be done first.
Any other questions? Motion is second on the floor. All in favor, raise your right hand. No legal matters or no requests for a committee. We have one public comment. Marlena Bardron.
Thank you again for that proclamation earlier. Marlena Bergeron, 2545 Willow Creek Court. True story. I brought 3 library books to Athens, Georgia for one of my classes, and I left them on the table in the visitor center and didn't know until I got home. So I had to either drive back the next day or have them mailed, and I was so embarrassed. But because of the Pine system being all interconnected, the education coordinator was able to return them on my behalf, no harm, no foul, and the whole is greater than the sum of the parts, and taken as a whole, the library has all of our hearts. Next week is National Library Week, and the Friends of the Library meet tomorrow at 11 a.m. Do we have any commissioners who are Friends of the Library? Well, we could really use your support right now. We need the dues. The library has not had an author visit in over a year. It would be great to have you be a part of it. Happy Poetry Month. So I'm here.
Wait a minute, native tree and poetry?
Yeah,
How about that?
it's a very busy month. And Earth Day and Easter. Gotta love it. So let the record reflect that I defended trees and talking leaves, which is the Cherokee word for books. I am here in my own way because I have a particular set of skills, and not one of them is brevity, I'm sorry to say. I'm not trying to pick a fight. I'm here to protect our library, our funding, and our Bill of Rights. This poem is called Bookworms Unite. Put your Columbia County Library guidelines to a vote. Since on September 3rd, no transparency, no one from the public spoke. No librarians nor experts from the law were able to scrutinize your document nor weigh in on how this would not be good at all. Too nebulous, no direction, no guidance on graphic books, fiction or nonfiction. No nudity, but a nonfiction book about anatomy? Please. How else do kids learn their gluteus maximus from their knees? The books with parts found obscene have been leapfrogging around the collection, and we found out last month that a couple books are missing and 9 are temporarily unavailable and taken out of circulation. You said you were not in the business of banning books. This toxic and unconstitutional mess is worse than it looks. First, gay characters in books were targeted. Now you're threatening to criminalize librarians who are intellectuals. Your consent agenda for March 18th had 2 bids for building more prison cells. And even though you pile and bury agenda items, changes, and charges, I swear sometimes you're worse than Xfinity. But our eyes see what they see. And this isn't North Korea, the Cultural Revolution in China, or Germany, 1933. And perhaps you think I doth speak in too much hyperbole, but could this be happening today in Columbia County? And maybe you think my concern for our 3 libraries is an overreaction, but we cannot, not for a second, let discrimination and intolerance gain traction. I called libraries all over the state and met other librarians and parents gathering to speak against SB 74, and their boards backed them up. So why, oh why, here have things gone amok? It has much more to do with this than with this. People found each other. They found what they liked and didn't. And they didn't like some authors. And now they're trying to control our access to those books because they can't control what's in it. You want to fill the bottom shelf of the kids department with Kash Patel? Go for it. Might as well. But the books that are already there, please, let them be. Let them rotate through naturally. Look, the library is vital to our community. We want it here in perpetuity. It's the spirit and soul of democracy. Before there was Google, before Wikipedia or an encyclopedia, there was the library for books and media. The librarians helped us with essential services after Hurricane Helene. The librarians were there for us all through COVID and quarantines. The amazing Alex helped me with my phone, our chess skills and AI, bird watching, 3D printing, and coding with Raspberry Pi. And I just found out you told his programs goodbye. You can check out a sewing machine, a puzzle, or guitar, and the best people and the best access to books within our Pine system by far. Put our Christian compassion in action. Protect our freedom to choose, our free market and free will. Please rescind the guidelines. Tell the Pharisees and Sadducees to write their own children's books or start a YouTube channel. Our public library is a bastion of neutrality, not a place for a scorched earth mentality. It's our library too. But go ahead if you must. You do you. And ramrod on constitutional guidelines and maybe SB 74 through. Just know you're messing with the wrong pack of nerds. Truth and time will have the last word. And if we fail as a library or a community or as a country, it won't be because of an enemy from within. It'll be because we failed to see each other as neighbors and fellow brethren.
Executive session, there are 3 items. Caraway, I believe you have the first one.
Sir, M1A, I make a motion to approve the employment agreement with the Greater Clarks Hill Regional Library System and Amanda Ham to provide services as the Director of Greater Clarks Hill Regional Library System.
Second.
I can take it. It's, this is for the regional library system. They do choose their own director. This is a state position. They have chosen, one of our branch managers to do this, so we're just the conduit here. It's all state funds for a state position.
Questions? Motion second on the floor. All in favor, raise your right hand.
Yes, sir. I make a motion to approve Class D vehicle and smartphone allowances for the Superior Court judges as of April 1st, 2025.
Second.
Just as a result of the budget process, we realized that our judges were not getting the car allowances and the smartphone allowances that the other employees get. We do have those for other elected officials, so it was prudent that we give those to the judges as well, and we're asking those to be effective immediately due to what I feel is a bit of an oversight.
Questions? Motion second on the floor. All in favor, raise your right hand. Carries. Couch, I believe you have the last one.
Yes, sir. I make a motion to approve $13,400 to Larry and Emily Wyatt, parcel 072395, and $28,000 to Terrence Price, parcel 067023, to obtain right-of-way and/or easements for the Hereford Farm Road widening project.
Second.
Standard negotiations for the property acquisition, this puts 65%.
Motion second on the floor. All in favor, raise your right hand. I believe that's all the business we have tonight.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Favor, raise your right